said my cat is stuck up in a tree. Would you shoot him down for me?
Oh, man.
Well, that was the plan. To give you a boner.
Explain me. I'm ready. When was the last time you had your cock sucked?
It has been over a year since we did our first Ridiculous Cage video, so we know this is a bit overdue.
We've been scouring the world of cinema for another masterpiece by our favorite thespian, Daddy Cage. And folks, we found it.
The movie that we watched was called The Grand Isle, and the reason we decided to watch this movie was this was the lowest rated movie of all time for Nicolas Cage. It has 0 stars on Rotten Tomatoes.
Last time we walked you through one of the worst plots I've ever seen, The Humanity Bureau.
My mom's pretty, don't you think?
Lucas.
She's never been married.
I understand Nicolas Cage is a legend, so if you want him to bang your mom, that's on you.
This movie is about a struggling new father, his name's Buddy, who was hired to fix a broken fence owned by Louisiana's most in-love couple, Walt and Fancy.
Very real names, Buddy
Very real.
and Fancy. Yeah.
After a dark and grisly night, Buddy is brought into Detective Jones's office and is questioned for murder.
Throughout the movie, we're taken through the story through flashbacks as Buddy explains what happened to him to a wildly overqualified Kelsey Grammer in the interrogation room.
He really is so good.
He's great, but he's like, why is it? He's just in these like 4 scenes.
Yeah.
I guess they just needed to lend some credibility to the role.
Yeah, I'm sure like his nephew or something is like a PA, and he's like, it would be so cool if you'd be in this movie.
The main issue that I have with this kind of structure is it's like it has the makings of something like, Christopher Nolan-esque, where it tries to tell the story.
Don't give it that kind of credit.
Well, no. What I'm saying is it's like a dude who lived in a trailer park saw a Christopher Nolan movie and was like, I can do that.
Let's start off with the beginning. First thing the audience sees, 4 Quattro studio logos. So there's already we're starting with like the most cohesive vision a movie has ever had.
Absolutely. So the movie opens with a B&E taking place at Walt or Nicolas Cage's home. The man runs out of the house and is shot immediately, causing Walt's fence to break. And who is this person, you may ask? We never find out. Throughout the whole movie, you never know who it is. Killing someone in the beginning sets the stakes high. I think that was the direction that they had.
We're introduced to Buddy as he is pitching some business idea to a man in a diner in a really, really oversized suit. After promptly being rejected for his idea, he then walks like 5 feet away behind him to have breakfast with his wife and son, who are just waiting for him to finish the business meeting.
His wife and his son are just kind of like waiting in the diner for him to be inevitably rejected for his business idea.
And what is the business again?
We don't know that either.
No
I'm
clue.
pretty,
Like, hey,
we don't
I have
know.
this idea. And
So we don't like ideas here.
It's also oddly revealed that their sex life just isn't very good. And it's very shoehorned in.
It's been 6 months.
It's because she had a baby and doesn't feel sexy. Like
That's, which is very normal.
Yeah,
and
that's
okay.
normal. But it's such a weird, like, strong thing for this movie to take. Like,
I mean, talk about
like,
the male gaze in cinema.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it's the
we're
definition
supposed to hate her because
we're
she
supposed
doesn't
to
wanna
side
fuck.
because she like is feeling like postpartum.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It wants the audience to relate to him and be like, oh, like he hasn't fucked her in
He's
a while.
all gummed up.
Yeah.
That's like me. I haven't fucked. Sorry. Anyway, moving on.
Buddy tells his wife he'd been hired to fix Walt's fence. Upon arriving to Walt's house, Walt immediately launches into a tirade, revealing that he was a Marine.
Gunslingers, right? How'd you know that?
And is extremely offended when Buddy almost calls him a jarhead.
Well, they call you Marines again? You call me a jarhead. You watch what happens.
I know a particular Gyllenhaal movie he'd hate.
After this, we're then introduced to Walt's super hot wife, Fancy, who strangely makes her entrance into the movie by singing to Walt as she walks down the stairs in her lingerie.
Sip your tea.
A little cherry on top too is Walt is somehow hammered and dead asleep sitting upright in his chair like a powered down android.
Also, who the fuck wears sunglasses inside when you know you're gonna fall asleep?
He wanted
Yeah.
to fool his wife. We then begin the many attempts by Fancy to seduce Buddy.
All bad.
Which, of course, Walt takes in stride.
As Buddy tries to finish fixing the fence, a storm arrives, preventing him from going home to his family. And of course, the main reason he is stuck here is for some reason his car won't start. There's never an indication that he has car troubles or anything. Even if in like the diner scene, if he had trouble starting his car,
Yeah,
maybe
set
that's
it
a
up.
little
Maybe
more
that would have been a
believable.
little setup, yeah.
Because then you're like, okay, I now know his car isn't very nice.
Yeah,
But
well, his 1980 Chevy fucking truck, the engine floods anytime it rains, evidently.
it's true. Anytime it's in contact with water.
Which
I
is
mean,
good for it being in Louisiana.
Oh yeah, definitely. The frustrating thing about that, like decisions like this, is they pop up all over this movie. It's not like someone made a decision, so therefore this happens. It's this happens.
Yes.
It's not a motivated decision and it doesn't move the plot forward. It's just some bullshit. Buddy is then offered to stay for dinner and wait for the storm to blow over. And Walt makes this interesting inquiry.
Roll the clip.
When was the last time you had your cock sucked?
Wait, what's hey Jamie?
Hey, Jamie, I think we got
Jamie,
a clip.
we got a
pull it
clip of
up.
that, right?
Did you see that fucking moose hit that? What's that clip?
fucking moose get hit by that truck?
Yeah, you see that moose get hit by that car?
We got a clip of Fancy blowing this dude under the table, right? Fancy then takes a couple passes at Buddy, but Buddy, being the dutiful husband that he is, resists her passes. For now.
Walt then brings Buddy up to the attic and explains that he hired him for a reason.
How'd you know it was on that shit?
You think I just invite anybody into my home?
Walt reveals to us that Buddy is some sort of war hero and doesn't really want to get him to fix his fence. He wants him to kill his wife.
$20,000.
Why are you showing it to me?
This is what I'm gonna pay you to kill my wife.
Fancy? They're
What?
so in love.
She's so hot and sultry.
Oh, and she's into voodoo, and we never see her do anything
Yeah.
with voodoo dolls. That should be Chekhov's fucking voodoo doll, and
Yeah,
it's never
exactly.
fucking touched.
He explains that Fancy is sick and is in pain and would end her life himself if he could bring himself to do it.
6 months ago, she was diagnosed with terminal blood cancer. I'd do it myself, but I haven't got the heart.
Walt offers Buddy $20,000 and he reluctantly agrees to kill Fancy.
Buddy goes into the bathroom where Fancy is taking a softcore porn bath.
Rad.
And they, of course, dust each other's cheeks. Makes sweet, sweet loving. Buddy tells Fancy that Walt hired him to kill her.
He asked me to kill you.
I came down to murder you, but then my dick was all stiff when I saw you in the bath, and I was
I
like,
can't kill with a stiff cock.
I can't kill when all the blood's in my shaft.
I haven't done that since the first Gulf War.
Yeah, I gotta bleed this lizard before I fucking kill you.
And he doesn't even there's no scenes of him like grappling with the idea of the ethicality behind it.
he's like, nah.
He's just like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And then he goes downstairs and he's like, oh, you're hot. Never mind.
It was never a moral question for
Yeah.
him. It was, do I want to have sex with this person or do I want to kill her?
Fancy is shockingly unfazed
You telling me?
and says she will take care of it.
I'll take care of it.
So they go downstairs, and Walt is visibly confused. He's like, I still have a wife? What the fuck is going on? And why does your dick smell like pussy?
Why does it smell like fucking cum down here now?
Because I came, Walt.
In your wife.
I came in your wife, Walt.
Fancy then stabs Walt in the hand, and a fight breaks out. And he is subdued and tied to the railing downstairs.
Walt also has this really out of place line where he tells Buddy he wants to be slayed by him, like a Viking trying to get into Valhalla. I guess he wants to get slayed like Buddy slayed his wife's.
Shoot me. Slay me. I'm ready.
So this is where things go from decently compelling to cuckoo's fucking banana shit fuck. And I'm fucking here for it.
Goddamn right.
I loved it. Because there's a point in every Nick Cage movie where you stop trying to take the movie seriously. You kind of have gone through all of the gauntlet of, you know, really wanting to put yourself in the world to, okay, fuck it. I'm just here for the ride.
What are you doing?
Just take me right in front of you. Let's make this son of a bitch squirm.
This is that point. Walt tells Buddy to look in the basement to see who Fancy really is.
Have a look in our basement. You're gonna love it.
He proceeds, and then Fancy shoots at Buddy. Unties Walt, insinuating that this was somehow part of their whole master plan. Walt literally has like a line where he's like, "You have to stab me so hard?"
Did you have to stab me so hard?
So hard.
Yeah.
Like, just to
Stab me lighter.
She didn't have to do that. She
Right,
could have
yeah.
just put him down and then like tied him up or whatever. Because 5 minutes later, the jig is up.
And it's like the whole plan is like there's so many pitfalls that could have gone along the way. Like, what if Buddy just drowned Fancy in the tub?
Yeah.
Like, what if
what if Fancy drowned Buddy in her?
Yeah, what if he split her in half with that fucking.
What if that happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Buddy just has 20K and he's like, Walt's like, I'm a man of my
and
word.
I got my rocks off. Best hurricane ever, dude.
But were they like, just like vehemently watching the Weather Channel and waiting for the perfect storm to trap this
Buddy.
war hero here?
That this dude tracked down, found out the history of.
Yeah, he did a whole background check on this guy. And then like, what if also Buddy was just like good at his job and had just fixed this fence before the storm got there? It's like 3 posts that have fallen down, and this white picket fence
Just ends.
is just the biggest. It's like one side of the yard is a regular size picket fence yard. Then there's the driveway, and then on the other side are another like 6 posts.
And then it just is done.
The fence is keeping nothing in or out.
They clearly only shot it in one angle, so they didn't have to show
and then
that it's a bullshit fence.
The DP just got a little too far to the right. Buddy then tries to escape and discovers a man who we think was the guy from the first scene that Nick Cage shot in the back. But we can't be sure because there's literally nothing tying them together. Attached to an IV bag and is clinging on to life. He's literally a blood bag from like Mad Max.
Buddy runs up the stairs looking for Walt's gun. Walt soon finds him in the attic and a fight breaks out. As they are fighting, somehow thunder breaks the back window, causing glass to fly and impale Walt in the back. Walt is then kicked out of the attic onto his now glass-inflicted wound, which would have certainly killed him.
Buddy is knocked out. Wakes up in the dilapidated pickup truck that couldn't even carry him home. Now with a dead body that, again, we don't recognize at all.
Oh, I
He
think
just
it's-
wakes up.
I guess, yeah. I guess we assume it's the boy.
same- yeah.
I guess we could assume that.
But also, did Walt tow this truck out of to
That's what I'm
this
saying.
random thing?
Why
or did
does
he
it just conveniently start?
Work then.
Pop it
Yeah,
into
It
neutral
doesn't make
and
any
he-
sense.
Yeah.
super soldiers it down the
The only
Grand Isle
reason
Highway?
he's here is because of some another bullshit, not motivated thing where the truck doesn't start. And if you're gonna go with that, at least stick with it, or maybe show Nick Cage like going out of his
Sabotaging
way
the
to
truck.
sabotage the truck or something like that. At least then it would be the actions of a character in
Or-
the script and not just bullshit
Or
that just happens.
show a trailer hitch on the back of Nick Cage's car.
Yeah,
so we
or
assume that he
something. Just
does
please.
something.
Drag me out of this well of questions.
Yeah.
Please. Buddy is then arrested because now the cops think that he killed this dude, even though
then fell asleep in his
and
truck.
then just fell asleep in his truck. And that brings us back to Fraser Crane played by Kelsey Grammer. So now we're at that kind of Christopher Nolan like moment where the timelines converge.
Buddy finishes up in the interrogation room by asking to speak to a lawyer.
I want to talk to a lawyer.
Kelsey Grammer takes this in stride and says, "That's some big city nonsense."
You don't subscribe to that big city nonsense.
And that's just the law.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not big city nonsense.
Yeah, it's
That's
literally
just-
federal law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After admitting to getting fancy with Fancy, Buddy's wife comes in. Do you remember her?
Prude, lady.
She comes in, they talk about, what am I hearing about this woman named Fancy?
What are they telling me about some woman named Fancy?
Also, like, why the fuck would you be a cop and just tell this dude's wife that, like, completely regardless of the case they're working on, oh, hey, he fucked some girl. The cops go over to Chateau Walt.
Hello, we've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
Good day, officers. What can I do for you?
Both Fancy and Walt are still there. Shouldn't they be on the run already? I get that they were trying to frame Buddy, but they didn't think that the police may have some questions or may want to look around in their home to corroborate his story or anything like that.
Can I offer you some iced tea?
Why didn't they kill Buddy and make it look like he died in a car accident with the other guy? Why keep him alive? Why?
Wash your hands of the whole thing. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Why
you work
frame
out your way?
him if they're already willing to kill people?
They're leaving a loose end. It's
Yeah.
not like they even like drugged him or like tried to fuck with his head or memory or something. They didn't do anything to like protect themselves.
Well, it would be a shame to get rid of such a nice piece of ass.
So the police obviously go over to Walt's house and they go to look in the basement, which Buddy mentions in the interrogation room. Fancy and Walt are in the living room, like waiting with the cops. And at this point, like, you're fucked. Like,
Yeah.
they're going and they're going to find this stuff. So the writers didn't know how to make it viable for them to escape. So just one by one, the cops just like slowly trail off into the basement. So there's only one defending Walt
Like
and Fancy.
they don't have radios.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
literally calling down the hallway like, are y'all okay?
And because there's originally like 3 or 4 in
Yeah.
the room with them. So it's like, oh, yeah, they can't get away because there's
Yeah.
cops like watching them. And then slowly they're all like, I'm going to go check this out. In the basement, they find children's toys and 2 kidnapped like Girl Scouts that were like briefly shown at the beginning of the movie.
And then when it's the last cop, he turns to the cop and goes, "Hey, officer."
You're not dragging me into this twisted shit of yours. Wanting to expand our family business on. Oscar, my cat is stuck up in the tree. Would you shoot him down for me? I said my cat is stuck up in a tree. Would you shoot him down for me?
And then that's his moment to run. So then Walt makes a break for it. And Fancy gets captured.
So apparently this is one of the other things that we mentioned in the beginning about this being like a bunch of different movies. Apparently they abducted the kids to like have their own pseudo like fucked up family, like because Fancy apparently can't have kids. And I think that maybe is mentioned one other time, but it doesn't seem like a big theme in the movie. Like it's hard to tell what's important and what isn't. But apparently she abducted the Girl Scouts to like create a weird pseudo family of her own, and that's why they're in the basement.
Like, what is happening?
So Walt makes a break for it, and Fancy gets captured. Buddy is released from police custody and goes home.
I don't watch the news.
We then get to the final showdown. So Buddy's in the diner from the beginning, and now he's all sad boy. He's talking to this hot waitress and stuff like that, really mulling it over in his head. And then Walt shows up at the diner with his wife as a hostage, but he doesn't look like the fucked up, disheveled Walt that we've grown to love. He somehow, while he's on the run in his random car with assumingly no belongings, I would be surprised if he even had his fucking wallet on him when he ran away from the police to get into his car and run on a chase. He has gotten almost a haircut, did his skincare all nice, like took a shower and is in his full military garb that now apparently he just keeps in his fucking car.
That also raises the question, how the hell did Walt know where she was?
Isn't this movie set in like, early 2000s too, where the internet is not like, because his phone wasn't working.
Yeah,
they
used a
home
landline.
phones.
They used a landline, yeah.
So like, how the fuck is this dude knowing where this woman is if he's on the run from the cops?
Shouldn't they have some sort of protection for these people, like for Buddy and his
Witness
wife?
protection.
Yeah,
Like-
something like that.
He then goes into a monologue.
Kind of like waking up every morning, knowing if you were overseas with your squad, maybe you could have helped save them.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And he makes Buddy in front of everybody like spill his guts on what really happened
You exposed our little secret. Now it's your turn.
and how he watched one of his friends die.
I said, tried to help out my friend Carl. That was a lie. All right.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, this has nothing to do with what's happening in the plot, though.
Yeah. Right.
Like, it's just like, why is he making him say all this bad shit about himself and how he was like a coward in the moment of
that's
something
never,
horrific?
I'm Walt here. I've abducted children, but you're not the hero
You're
that
a
I made you out
monster.
to be.
Exactly. It's like, and this has nothing to do with any of the plot that was set up before.
Right.
No, exactly.
It's just so fucking weird.
There's just there's no cohesion.
Yeah,
It's
it just
the-
is so
it's
out of
Studio
left field.
3 saying, "Hey, we want to make this all
Yeah.
like
we
a-
want a military,
a
an American
veterans-
military complex movie.
Yeah.
And then Studio 4 is like, well, I can't have kids, so I'd like that to
Yeah.
be part of the movie
And
that I
Studio
want.
3 is like more cucking.
Yeah, exactly. Is this what they're trying to explain as to why they framed Buddy? Like, is this the rationale that they tried to frame him for murder? But why did they do that and not just like kill him if he's like if they don't like him? It didn't make any sense. I don't know what the fuck's happening at this point.
Yeah.
Get over here, Tadpole.
So Walt asks for Fancy to be released from. Apparently, she's been in a mental institution.
Where's my baby girl?
Walt wants her out of there.
So Kelsey Grammer says that he can't get his baby girl released from the mental facility.
Put her in a lockdown mental facility. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't get her released.
And even though Walter literally left her out to dry when he ran away from the cops, this is somehow devastating. And if you look real closely, you can see
best
the
get
exact
ready.
moment they completely shoehorn
about
in
to
an
get ugly.
ulterior
Hold
plot
on.
about the hardships of the U.S. military
Your
system.
fellow Marines say. You think they'd condone this?
Fuck yeah, they would. This here is a sacrifice against a system.
We then witness the single worst shootout we've ever seen in our lives. And that's saying something.
Gunslingers, sign it out!
Okay, so watching this back now, we just noticed that Nicolas Cage doesn't shoot one time. Not one time in the final shootout. So the cops just murdered a guy who wasn't even shooting at them.
Also, the police somehow shoot Buddy.
What you say? That you only meant well, 'cause you did. What you say? That it's all for the best, 'cause it is. What you say? That it's just what we need. You decided this. What you say? What did she say?
And of course, folks, Buddy and his wife get back together for no reason. Imagine having your husband just go off to fix a fence and then come back with adultery and like him getting
A
shot,
murder charge?
murder
Yeah.
charge, and now you're being held hostage. I would get as far away from that fucking man as I possibly could.
So you might be wondering, what is the purpose of this movie, you know? What is this movie trying to say? Well, please let us know because we don't fucking know at all. Please comment below if you've watched this movie. One, we're sorry. And
Yeah.
two, Tell us, what you think. I know we've all heard the expression, it's like a horrible car accident. You want to look away, but you just can't. But this is like that. But if Nicolas Cage was also, while this is happening, trying to convince you to bang his wife.
And kill her at the same
And you're in the car accident.
Yeah.
It's a movie with an identity crisis at its core. And it's trying to fit so much into it that it really doesn't say anything.
I wonder why this movie seems to not have one cohesive vision. I don't like that you guys made me watch this movie. I'll tell you that much. The day we watched this movie, the morning of, I got locked out of our apartment without my phone, and I was in my pajamas. And this was the worst part of the day.
Yeah. My main thing is it kind of falls into the pit that movies with a lot of voices kind of like fall into. It's just kind of a wash of just a bunch of different ideas thrown into one extremely sexy cuck thriller. I love that.
It's good, right?
Cuck thriller.
It's good.
A
I
cuck
like that.
thriller, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I, of course, didn't enjoy this movie. I think Nicolas Cage movies can be so bad that it's good.
Yes.
Like I'd say that with Wicker Man and then Snake Eyes.
You got snake eyes.
And like Face Off. It's so awful that it's entertaining.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that. I think this movie was just awful. It's fun making a video about it because I think taking like an analytical look at something this awful is funny. Like this process is funny, but the watching it part sucks.
This movie is a deep breath.
Yeah.
It's just a
low
big
moan.
sigh. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Like, sub, and hit that bell button so you never miss a video. You get notifications whenever we post a video, and we will be posting every 2 weeks. So please let us know.
I mean, listen to the boardroom. I don't, it'll be in the description. But this is kind
Great
of
podcast.
it's a podcast.
Incredible
Find wherever
podcast.
podcasts are sold. We all love movies a lot.
right.
And we have an idea for a podcast that we're going to start soon. No exact date yet, but very soon. Called The Ones and Tens. It's the tentative title, but I think that's what we're going to call it.
He's the one, I'm the 10.
I don't like that.
And I'm the and.
Yeah. So new podcast coming out under the Guilty Dogs Productions name, baby. So if you want to hear us talk at length about our favorite good, bad movies, then watch out for The Ones and Tens coming out soon.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.